Okay. Welcome to episode 76. Today we're going to talk mostly about the Disney investors call and all the craziness from that, but we'll be talking about a little bit more. You're listening to the Castles, Capes, and Clones podcast, where we discuss everything in the Disney universe, from Pixar to Marvel, from Star Wars to Disney films, from ABC to the Muppets. If you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and like this post, please. Hi, everybody. I'm Loren, and I'm here with my cousin and co pilot, Rich. How's it going? Yeah. Right. Yeah. hmm Yeah. Yeah. To take in. Yeah. I know. What I thought was going to be a short podcast, turns it's going to turn into a gargantuan one. So please stick with us. There's so much news today. I don't even know where to start. It's like nuts. But yeah. But anyway, we're going to start our news from within the castle gates, highlighting Disney news. And again, I don't even know how to characterize any of this. But we'll start off with some non investor news. Surging COVID-19 cases and overflowing ICU trigger further Disneyland closures. So we know that the dining has closed in downtown Disney and in on Buena Vista Street, and again, all things that make sense. It's sad, especially because there's a lot of cast members who have been displaced again, so that's never a good thing. But at the same time, our rates are just going up and up, as we have talked about many times, and and it's a travesty, and they have to do something. So nobody wants dining to close. I mean, I like to go to a restaurant myself, even if it's outdoor dining. So, yeah, it's a mixed bag. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I'm hoping that they weren't just released from their jobs like several thousand were. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You can't even drink water. Like, yeah, no water bottle. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. All right. Well, there's some more details about the Raya and the Last Dragon characters. I just put down Raya's character because a lot of them are just characters we don't know about yet. So, anyway, the main character of the film will be 15-year-old girl named Mariana, who is described as a lovable, funny, fallible, utterly human protagonist. She uses her humor to cover up struggles with her own self worth. She's a true comedian, akin to Lucille Ball. Interesting. Mariano will also be the narrator of the film. Now, that's interesting, Lucille Ball, um, because she does not look like Lucille Ball in the trailer, but I don't know. I'm sure there's some kind of comic twist to it. There's always some kind of comic twist in the Disney film, so um, I'm excited for this film, especially because Lin Manuel Miranda is doing the music, and we all know how great the Moana soundtrack is. So, yeah, yeah. And finally showed the Last Dragon, Sifu the Last Dragon. So, which looks like they are an actual dragon. And some of the other minor characters that they're going to have. So, I don't know if they're minor or major, but they're characters that we don't know about yet. So, good stuff. All right, so here we go into some of the Investor Day things. So, Hocus Pocus 2, we know that Bette Midler talked about it, and there's always been this talk about Hocus Pocus 2, but now it is officially confirmed, and I could not be more thrilled. No, just the title, like the logo. No, yeah, they didn't have a subtitle yet. So, uh, I know some of this news that I'm going to talk about are kind of like the worst kept secrets, but we'll talk about them anyway. Uh, so, one of them is a Three Men and a Baby film starring Zac Efron is coming to Disney Plus, and we had heard all of that before. So that's fun. Can't wait for that. Uh, that's the only. that they've said again. Yeah, it's only Zac Efron so far. Cheaper by the Dozen is going to be starring Gabriel Union, and it's going to be about a mixed race family trying to make it and break it in the world today. And so that's kind of the new twist to the cheaper by the dozen concept, which I think is cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they do that. Uh, there's an Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild coming to Disney Plus. I'm assuming through Blue Sky Studios, since it's who originally did them. I don't quite know what it's about, but I'm sure it's gonna star that squirrel. And I don't know. No, I think it's another character in it. So, but I'm sure the squirrel is going to be in it. Yeah, yeah. I think he's one of the like other animals, like maybe the saber tooth. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I can't remember. I can't. It's been a while since I've seen any of the Ice Age films, so I can't remember their names. Anyway, that's coming up. Night at the Museum will be animated. That's the new news about that film that we had not heard before. So that'll be cool to see. It'll be interesting to see who's animating it. I'm going to assume Blue Sky again because that's a 20th century film, and that'll be good for Blue Sky because they're going to have more projects going on. So yeah, and I don't know. They didn't say anything about Nimona, which is was slated to be Blue Sky's next film. So they didn't say anything about that. So maybe they're going to do these films in lieu of Nimona. Yeah, yeah, I like them. I like them. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm curious. I'm curious. I'm sure that it's going to be. I'm sure it's going to be family friendly. I mean, it's going to be for the whole family, especially since it's animated. A lot of adults are going to want their children to watch it if it's animated, because animation is cartoons and for kids. Boom, 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 boom. No, I'm sure that it's going to just be family, like like a family film. So I don't think it's going to be for like little kids. That's my general impression. It'll be for the same kind of audience that watched the live action films. That's what I'm imagining, because those are the kind of audiences that will want to, come back for it. All right, so the next one is The Little Mermaid, talking about worst kept secrets. They have finally confirmed most of their cast, and we got, guess what, Aquafina, we got Jacob Tremblay, we got what's her name, Melissa McCarthy, and Javier Bardem. So all of them are in the film, playing. I'm sure they didn't say exactly what characters, but I'm sure they're the characters that everybody has been talking about. And Halle Bailey, still, no, I'm like Halle Berry. No, no, no. She is starring as Ariel still, and I know there's somebody else that was announced and confirmed before that is playing Prince Eric, but I can't remember his name. So anyway, cool stuff there. Yeah. Uh, I can't remember if they mentioned it at the investor call, but I know that's to be true that Alan Menken and Lin Manuel are writing them music, which is very cool. Yeah, yeah, totally Disney, and we are all the better for it. All right, so there are some new projects, some of them that we've heard of, that are coming to Disney Plus. Pinocchio is one of them. Peter Pan and Wendy, we've talked a lot about that, and Disenchanted. Oh, and Sister Act 3. So Sister Act 3, I think, is the one that we didn't know about, uh, but we have heard of the other projects. So lots of stuff coming to Disney Plus. I don't think they mentioned that. I don't think they mentioned it. I think we did know that beforehand. So they did mention it today? Yeah. He's the what? Yeah, he's the whale. Otherwise known as Geppetto. Uh, yeah, I was so busy transcribing, going back and forth on this really busy call, so I might have missed some details. So I'm like, yeah. So Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is coming to Disney Plus. It's going to be like a hybrid live action, kind of like the Smurfs was, I'm assuming, where the Chipmunks and Gadget and Monterey Jack and I forget the name of the fly. Zipper, yeah. He is. They are all going to be in it. John Mulaney and Andy Samberg are starring in the film. I don't know if they're actual characters or voices of some of the characters, but John Mulaney can't. Yeah. Oh, they are. Okay. Yeah. Which is interesting because I would imagine the them different because Dale is obviously a little more humorous, and John Mulaney is, I mean, he was Spider Ham. He was like amazing as Spider Ham. So he brings a whole level. But I mean, Andy Samberg also is humorous as well. So I guess I can see. Yeah, Um, all right. So the next thing is there is a whole bunch of Disney Plus series coming from Walt Disney Animation Studios. So first up, there is a Baymax series, which is interesting because they already have a Big Hero 6 series, but this one I think is going to be more in the computer generated side. And um, I think there's a twist where he isn't involved with Big Hero 6 either. I'm not quite sure. Again, going back and forth, transcribing. I can't remember exactly what the series is supposed to go around, but I know that it's not like your classic Big Hero 6 story. So we got that one. We got Zootopia Plus, which will have different kind of series, that go around Zootopia, like Real Housewives of something, and all these different kind of series that they're gonna parody. So that's what Disney Zootopia Plus will be about. They're gonna have a Yeah, they're gonna have a Tiana series and a Moana series. So a lot of different series coming to Disney Plus. It's gonna be I mean, Disney Plus is going to have a lot of stuff on it, which is awesome. Yeah, well, that's nice. Yeah, they're definitely trying to make their goal for sure. Yeah, yeah, definitely. But which one of these series sound the most exciting to you? Yeah, more than a frog. Yeah, last hand drawn. Yeah, and hopefully more than just a frog. Hmm. Right, right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people who love that film. I like it. It's not necessarily one of my favorite films, but I do like the film. I'm most excited about Zootopia. I have to say that it's kind of interesting with the parodies, but Moana obviously is one of my favorite princesses, and so I can't wait to see what they do with that. Hopefully, it'll be a musical series. I'm hoping because she needs music. Actually, somebody like even Tiana needs music. Yeah, so they didn't mention if well, again, transcribing, so I don't remember if they mentioned if they're going to be musicals, but hopefully they are. And then there is a series called Iwaju, which is a collaboration with I think, an African studio and to bring African stories and African voices to the screen. And this is a series for Disney Plus. This sounds really interesting as well, because I would love to see how it sounds like they're going to get different African American or African artists uh, to do the film or do the series, I should say. So, yeah, and it's I think that having that kind of those kind of diverse voices uh, is nothing but a good thing. I mean, it's very cool. Yeah, right, right. Okay, so then they went on to the Pixar stuff where there's new Spark shorts coming, with the first one being a short called Burrow. Don't know much about that one. And there's also going to be a series called Popcorn, which is also a series of shorts. All of this coming to Disney Plus. And like I love all of the Spark shorts that they currently have on Disney Plus. So hopefully this will be as great as those, which I can't imagine why it wouldn't. Yeah, and diverse voices. That's again another one where they encourage women and people of color to participate, and that's how we got films like Float. We got films like oh, I forget the name of that one that was really cool about immigration, um, where it took place on an asteroid. You know which one I'm talking about? Yeah, that one was really cool. Yeah, I can't remember what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, and then of course Out, which came out was a big hit with many people. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right. There's also two series called Dog Days, which is about Doug, and also a new car series where Lightning McQueen and Mater go around the country. Now, I think it didn't quite work for Cars 2, but I think because it worked for the Mater's Tall Tales, that it should go well in this kind of series where the two of them, kind of pair up together again. Uh, yeah, yeah, I agree. Up, Cruz Ramirez. Yeah, that would have been interesting if they. Yeah, right. Yeah. The Doug Days one looks really cool. I love the little thing with
And I
the
feel like,
puppies
okay,
that come in
is it gonna be more of the same?
because they look like
You know,
my sister
I feel like
Olivia has a puppy
uh,
right now,
I
and they look
like the
like
Cars world,
the
and I
like
feel
the
like they can
twins or
explore
puppy.
it with different
So cute.
characters.
Everybody loves a puppy. All right, so then there is another series that is being developed called Win or Lose, and this is a new kind of series by Pixar that has never been
Right.
done before. And guess where it's going? Disney Plus, if you guess that. So yeah, it's going to HBO Max. Um, all right, then there are two movies that are going to be following Luca, and they're both coming in 2022, one in spring, one in summer. So very close to each other. Very interesting about that. Um,
It's
the
going
first
to
one is
HBO
called Turning
Max.
Red, and it's about a little girl who, when she gets upset, she turns into a red panda. So it was described as Hulk, but with a red panda instead. Uh, yeah, I think that that will be really
Yeah.
cute. And then the other one is Lightyear, which is the definitive origin story of Buzz Lightyear. Um, Tim Allen is not returning, but Chris Evans will be
Yeah, I was
voicing
in with the Red
Buzz
Panda.
Lightyear. So very cool. I could hear his voice actually as Buzz Lightyear. So that'll be good. Any comment?
Sorry, apparently there's some weird sound issues,
Oh,
so I'm trying to deal with that.
okay. I'll just keep moving.
Yeah.
Disney Plus is developing a film called Young Woman and the Sea with Daisy Ridley to star and Joaquin Roning to direct. Um, yeah, I support anything with Daisy Ridley in it. I think that that'll be. I have no idea what it's about, but if she's in it, I will believe in it. I will.
Nice.
So it says that Disney will possibly merge Disney Plus and Hulu, which kind of would make more sense. You know, if they had like a parental, uh, what do you call that? Parental controls.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or
you know, which I think it should. I mean, it would be nice to just have everything under one roof. But the big question for me as a Hulu Live subscriber is what would happen to Hulu Live if they did that. That's probably my biggest question. This wasn't brought up on the investor call. This is kind of news, like rumor
right.
news. So who knows?
I mean, like, I don't have Hulu Live, so I don't know if they're going to. They may call it something different
Yeah.
because it's a different aspect. It's basically your cable, so it's different from just normal Hulu.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going back to some. I don't know how I got this all messed up, but this is from the investor call again. Disney Plus has hit over 86 million subscribers worldwide. That is crazy. But it is definitely becoming one of the, you know, most sought after streaming services for
Nice.
sure.
Apparently, I
Uh,
sound like a droid. Do I sound fine to you?
you sound fine to me.
I
How
don't know.
about me?
You sound fine, so I don't know what's going on.
Did somebody report that we're sounding weird?
I'm sounding weird,
Oh, huh. You sound fine to me.
so I don't know. I don't know what's going on, honestly.
Hopefully, hopefully, just on your end, and because for me it sounds fine.
Right. One of our viewers is like, you sound like a droid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Well, hopefully you'll figure that one out. Moving on to the next story, Raya, the Last Dragon will premiere in both theaters and on Disney Plus or Premium Access. So that because that's due out in March next year. So I think they're giving some leeway as to when this will, like for people who might still be afraid of COVID. So I think that's a nice, you know, opportunity. If you don't want to watch it, pay $29.99. Who knows? They didn't say a price, so
I'm
we
gonna
don't know if they.
assume. Well, I don't know what they would charge. I'm assuming it would be about the same as Mulan.
Yeah, but they might have decided to kind of lower, maybe to 24.99, 19.99, because I don't know if Mulan was as popular with that price point, 29.99. I think more people are going to be watching it. It just started airing on Disney Plus, so who knows? Who knows? But I'm just excited. I'm going to definitely watch it. If I don't know if I feel safe enough, I might watch it in theater, but I'll definitely get it on premium access as well because I want to be able to watch it over and over and over again, and I don't want to pay for it in the theater.
I mean, like, I don't even know when to go see anything in the theater. It might be at least a year.
Yeah,
So, because the scene from Outbreak keeps playing in my mind, and that's what I'm like. Nope, I'm good with paying for it to watch at home.
right, exactly. Okay, so before we get on to other Lucasfilm news, we have one other item here that Indiana Jones sequel is coming to theaters starring Harrison Ford. So this, I think, Kathleen Kennedy said this will be his last film, which I can't imagine him making any more than that. But it'll be interesting because he's gotten up there in the age and how much he'll be able to do. But he's a very spry man for
Yeah, I'm just curious to see if they end this series
yeah,
or they open the door for someone else taking the role, um, which I hope is not Mutt Lang. Uh,
I know. That's
but because I feel like they might have tried in the fourth movie is like, okay, the new Indiana Jones is gonna be his kid, but I don't think anyone liked that kid.
no.
so so who knows?
At least that's the feedback that I've gotten from that film. I still haven't watched it. I have it, but I
Oh
still
really?
have. Yeah, what is it called? Temple of the Crystal Skull, or
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
yeah,
That is so
it's,
weird. You've never
I
seen the
know.
pain that is. I mean, like, there are parts that are fine, but I feel like it wasn't really an Indiana Jones
Yeah,
movie. Um, because like rewatching it, he has. It's almost like he's not the main character in that movie, and they
yeah,
tried really hard for it to be the kid, Shia LaBeouf, but it just didn't work.
yeah.
Um, he wasn't. He just wasn't
Well,
likable, really.
and I can't even imagine Shia LaBeouf as his son. It just seems like such odd casting to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would rather like if he had a kid that kid have grown up with him,
Hmm.
wanting to be him, like because he's not even like an archaeologist. Like he just was this unknown kid that he didn't know about for the longest time, and then just shows up and he's kind of like a punk, but in the '50s. So he's like, you know, uh, the bad boy of the '50s, and it's like there's no reason for him to take over. So
Yeah.
you know,
So hopefully they'll just kind of quietly write him out.
like he went off and did his whatever rebel stuff he does,
Yeah.
uh, and maybe Marion and Indiana Jones have like a younger kid. Well, obviously be a younger kid, but that one takes over, and because that person's involved with his or her father,
Yeah.
and bring back short round.
Yeah. Bring back short round.
Bring
I'm
back
all
short
for
round.
that for sure.
Bring back short round and John Rhys Davies.
Yeah. I'm all for that for
Yeah.
sure. All right, so now we move to the Clone Cantina
Oh
for
my
our Star
God.
Wars news. Do you want to actually navigate us through this since you are the
Sure.
resident expert on it all?
Yeah. So I broke it down by the Disney series, the animated series, and then the movies. Um, so let's start with the Disney series with the two that we know of.
Right.
Andor, which of course stars Diego Luna, um, and created by Tony Gilroy, is actually set to a premiere in 2022, which is pretty exciting. So we have a year, but we know it's coming. So that's cool. And they did start filming 3 weeks ago in London.
Hmm.
Um, Interestingly enough, so they listed like in the press release, whatever. Stellan Skarsgård, Adria Arjona, Fiona Shaw, Denise Go, Kyle Solar, and Genevieve O'Reilly starring, but there's no mention of Alan Tudyk.
Ah,
But we know he's in it, I
yeah.
think, right? Just
Maybe they're gonna skip
K2SO.
that he's just kind of, known. Maybe.
I
I hope
mean,
that he returns as
yeah, right?
K2SO.
Because that would. I feel like one of the breakout characters obviously was K2SO from the movie. So, um, but yeah, and I guess the official title is Andor, right? There's like a
Yeah.
logo and stuff already up. So there we go. We knew about that though, so there's that. Um, Obi-Wan Kenobi looks like that's the title of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Ah,
Um, that takes place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, which means that's 9 years before A New Hope. Um, so basically, Luke and Leia would be about 10 years old at that time. So if they do ever appear in that show, they'll be still little kids.
mhm.
Um, it's directed by Deborah Chow, which we know, but they confirmed that Hayden Christensen is coming back for that series. Now, what's interesting to me is like how they're going to fit that story because Kathleen Kennedy does say like it'll be like the epic rematch of the century, which I'm like, does that mean they meet in this series? Because and they've kind of retconned things before, but in A New Hope, when they meet, um, Vader is pretty much like, uh, when last we met, you were the master, but now like whatever the line is, I can't remember it.
Yeah.
But alludes that like, they didn't see each other since their last meeting, which we assume was on Mustafar when uh, Anakin became Titular Anakin, and Obi-Wan went off with his lightsaber. So this kind of changes that meeting in A New Hope if they met afterwards. So
Yeah. Well, my big question is, who is Hayden Christensen? Is he going to do the voice? Because like his voice is very different from James Earl Jones, which is the iconic voice. Maybe it's a younger Vader, and maybe he doesn't have that full throaty goodness of James Earl Jones yet.
I
Uh,
mean,
is he playing Vader himself, which would be like strange that they wouldn't give him any voice and just have him be in the costume.
well, I mean, it could go a couple of ways with this. Like as we saw in Rebels, Anakin is very much still there and still has his voice without that helmet. So it might be that at this point in Vader's life, he can still survive without his helmet on for long periods of time.
Maybe.
Um, and he did suit up in Revenge of the Sith, so he has worn the suit. I can't imagine James Earl Jones not doing the voice of Darth
Right.
Vader, because
I'm
he
trying to
did.
remember what his voice sounded like in Rebels. Do you remember?
It was James Earl Jones, but there is a scene where you hear both James Earl Jones and Matt Lanter
Yeah.
as Anakin, because his helmet's cracked, and so you see that it's still Anakin.
Right.
Except he's got the Sith eyes. Um,
Yeah.
but he's still there, so I can imagine if they're going to use Hayden's voice, it's going to be sans mask.
Yeah. It would
So I
have to
don't
be.
know.
They would have to do something to make it worthwhile for Hayden Christensen to do the role.
Right. Um, but I mean, I don't think he's going to play a major part.
Probably, yeah,
Right.
probably not. But I'm just wondering
So,
how he'll look like.
um, because we know if this is. Oh, actually, no. This takes place before Rebels. So,
Yeah, that's true, huh?
because Rebels takes place about 4 or 5 years
Five,
before
5 years.
New Hope. So
Yeah.
this is 4 or 5 years before Rebels. So maybe he hasn't developed that voice. Maybe it's
Yeah.
different.
Maybe.
But I can't imagine audiences, especially longtime Star Wars fans, being happy with any kind of voice coming out of Darth Vader that's
Right.
not James Earl Jones or someone trying to be James Earl Jones.
Right. That's
Um,
what I would imagine as
right.
well.
Because, you know, I mean, I don't foresee James Earl Jones not wanting to, because it's a voiceover, so he can do it from wherever he is.
Right.
Um, and he is Darth Vader. So I don't know, it'll be interesting how they utilize Vader in this story, because as far as we've known, the last time they met was on Mustafar, and not until the Death Star that they saw each other. But they can twist perception from a certain point of view to make it work. So
Yeah.
so we'll see.
Right.
Um, but now on to the series that we had no idea about before.
Yeah. The totally new one.
Um, so we'll start off with the one we kind of knew might be coming, maybe. And that is Ahsoka.
Right.
Officially titled Ahsoka. It's a limited series, so it's not an ongoing, which is similar to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's also a limited series. Um,
You know, when that logo first came on, I peed in my pants.
See, I missed that part, so I need to watch like if there's a replay because I said like the time I started watching was after this, so I didn't see any of this stuff
Yeah. I
live.
think they said that they archived the call, so
I'd
there's probably
assumed there's way too many announcements here, but they're not gonna throw it up on YouTube somewhere so people can see it.
yeah, it
Um,
was crazy.
yeah, right. Um, but it's a limited series, like obviously starring Rosario Dawson and executive produced by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and that's mostly what we know.
Hmm.
Unless there's something else mentioned in the actual call that you remember.
No, they didn't really talk about it very much. It was sad about, but oh well.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm assuming that since it's executive produced by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, that's going to look, it's going to be similar in the feel of The Mandalorian, and because they hinted at the possible storyline when,
Yeah,
Ahsoka's like, where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?
right.
That's the sort of speculation of, well, it's got to have Grand Admiral Thrawn in there.
Yeah,
Um, who's going to play the Grand Admiral Thrawn? Who knows? Uh, I think this is interesting, and someone pointed this out, that at Star Wars Celebration, when they had the big Star Wars mural that painted from all the movies and even like Rebels was on there.
yeah.
Um, in the Rebels part of the mural, they did have Grand Admiral Thrawn in there, but it was literally it's like they took Pierce Brosnan and made him blue, and that's who it was. Like there was no mistake that was Pierce Brosnan. So it's like, is
Interesting.
he tied to it at all?
I can
Maybe.
kind of see him.
right? Because um, I mean that was right. I mean it was before the Mandalorian came out,
Yeah.
the last hour celebration, right? Um, but we know from like interviews with Rosario Dawson and whatnot that she knew she was going to be playing Ahsoka before the Mandalorian first season came out.
Oh yeah.
So I wonder if these kind of things were talked about because I can't imagine that they approached Rosario and she knew she was playing Ahsoka and it was like for one episode.
Right.
They had to have said we have an idea for an Ahsoka series.
Especially when she mentioned Thrawn's name, it's like you can't just throw that out there and just be okay. Well, that's it.
Yeah, right. That's way too much of a name drop, right?
hmm
It would be like Bo-Katan saying like, "Go find Ahsoka Tano," and then we never see Ahsoka
Not
Tano.
never. Yeah, exactly. Not never doing that.
um, so I'm just curious what who else is going to be in this show.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, it's confirmed, so we can now feel like, okay, it's confirmed. There's going to be an Ahsoka live action TV
Right.
show. We can assume that it's about finding Grand Admiral Thrawn, or the which if she's still looking for him, it's probably also related to finding um, Ezra
Ezra.
Butcher, right?
Right.
Um, so is Ezra going to be in it? Is it going to be kind of like a last or a Force Awakens thing where the whole series is about finding Ezra? We
Yeah.
don't see Ezra until the end of the series, and he turns around in a gray cloak
Right.
on some island, and he's like, "What?" and that's it.
Me.
So, um, I like never in my mind would I have fathomed that there would be a live action Ahsoka Tano.
Me too. I have been
Um,
waiting and waiting.
yeah,
And then I finally got my dream in Mandalorian, and now I get an even further dream in this Ahsoka series.
yeah,
So I cannot wait. I'll be the first one to watch it.
yeah.
And I'll know if I'm the first one to watch it because I'm going to be like, tick, 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 tick,
Yeah.
waiting for it to come out.
It's funny, like, I was against a live action Ahsoka, and not because I hate the character, because, like, I wanted it done right, and I could not see, years ago, her looking correct on screen
Mhm.
on live action. That was what worries me, because I didn't want it to look like really bad cosplay. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Um, but now that we've seen her live action, I'm fine with it. Like I know people are complaining that her themes are too short and whatever, but
Yeah.
I mean for what Soka has to do on screen,
Yeah.
and also to save a little bit of scratch. I mean they don't want to spend like because every the people like just CGI it.
Right.
Everything's virtual anyway. I'm like, yeah, but a virtual background is different than CGIing every single shot, every single frame with her tendrils, right?
Yeah.
That would be a super expensive endeavor because she's the main character, and every single shot of her will probably have to have CG, and that's just crazy. Um, but you know, they did it well. Zarya did a great job. She be. I've always wanted to see a Jedi look like a ninja, and we got it in Ahsoka. So
Yeah. Very cool.
more of that. Um, and now to go to the ones we had no idea was
hmm
coming. Um, the first one on the tongue was Lando. Um,
That
not a
was
lot
good.
of information about this either, except that it's a limited series developed
hmm
by Justin Simeon, who did
hmm
Dear White People, which I did not see. I've heard about, and again, it's one of the things on my long list of things I need to check out.
Yeah. No, I know. God.
But there's no mention of
Danny
Donald
Glover.
Donald Glover.
Is Donny Glover? No, Donny Glover. Danny Glover's
Danny
another
Glover is
person.
from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
um, which is it's I find it weird that they wouldn't have mentioned Lando,
Yeah.
right? Um, but if we're not getting a solo series,
Series.
Lando would be my second choice.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like I wonder if it's gonna be a prequel or if it's after. Because if it's a prequel, then we might also get to see more of L7, played by Phoebe
Oh yeah,
Waller-Bridge,
that would be nice.
which would be amazing. Um, but who knows when it takes place? Could be after. Because if it takes place before, that means he's also in the Millennium Falcon, which would be
Yeah.
nice to see. Or we might get if the ship he gets after, like the ship that Lando has in the expanded universe is the Lady Luck.
Uh-huh.
So it'd be kind of cool to get another ship also. So either way, I'm cool with it. Um, and just I hope it's like a fun series, and my hope is that both Donald Glover and Billy Dee Williams are part of it.
Yeah.
Like I can see it kind of being like older Lando, just like
Yeah.
telling
Narrating.
the Lando Chronicles, or
Right.
The Calrissian
That would be
Chronicles, like he
really
started.
cool.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then it's just, and then like he's getting older, Billy Williams, and he's talking to, like, they can really tie it to the movies, and how he at the end of Rise of Skywalker he was with Jenna, and they're like, let's go find your people or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
what if they find like all these stormtroopers and he's like part of that group and he's just like, let me tell you about folk, like Calrissian Chronicles, and then boom, like he tells a story that pertains to something they're doing in
Yeah.
present time, right? But who knows what this is about? I don't know, or when it takes place.
Right.
Um, so that's exciting. No info on when that's coming out. Um, So I'm gonna assume 2022 or three.
Yeah.
So
What are those?
the next one is one I'm really curious about, which is the Rangers of the New Republic.
Right.
Um, it's a story that takes place during the Mandalorian, um, and what they said about it is this new live action series from executive producers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will intersect with future stories and culminate into a climactic story event. Um, which I'm guessing that means that the Mandalorian, this show, and Ahsoka will intersect more.
Mhm.
I
I
think
think so.
those three um, are what's going to culminate into this climactic story event.
Yeah.
And that could be where Thrawn comes in, uh,
Oh, interesting.
right? Like if Ahsoka is looking for Thrawn and Ezra and whatever, because like I imagine the Rangers of the New Republic, like I imagine like the two pilots we've seen in The Mandalorian, who are
Mm-hmm.
like space cops in the Outer Rim, but like the scene between Cara Dune and I can't remember the name of the pilot, with the guy
Yeah.
from
Blue.
Kim's
I think the
Convenience.
color blue.
Yeah. I feel like there's a story there, um, where he's kind of uncovering what's going on in the Outer Rim, which is, during this time period is post Empire, but it's pre First Order. And
Right.
maybe this culminates in the birth of the First Order coming out. Um, and that's what starts the new kind of conflict in the galaxy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's exciting that they said, like, it culminates into a climactic story event, which means interconnectivity between probably the three shows that take place during the same time.
That would be so excellent.
Yeah. Um, so uh, I, I, I wonder how much of this was supposed to come out as Celebration this year,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, but who knows? Um, I mean, I'm gonna watch all of it, obviously, but this one sounds very intriguing to me since it's again another new thing, right? We know Lando, we know Ahsoka. Well, most people know Lando. People who follow the animated series knows Ahsoka. So this is the first for like, who are these people? Like, what's going on in this
Yeah.
one? So there's that. And then the last Disney Plus series show is called The Acolyte, which is the show that we've talked about where um, what was it, Leslie Headland,
Uh-huh.
who made Russian Doll. It's her series. The one was talked about where
Okay.
kept saying that she's gonna explore different parts of the galaxy that no one's been before. Um, and so not a lot was known about it. But in the press release after it was announced, it's the Acolyte is a mystery thriller. So it's a Star Wars mystery thriller that takes us to like the shadowy ass parts of the galaxy.
Hmm.
Um, but what's interesting to me, especially, is that it's set in the era of the High Republic.
Yeah.
So not only is it's a new story, it's a time period that we've not explored anywhere yet. Like the first High Republic books come out in next month. Um, so it's a whole new Star Wars that no one, especially mainstream, is not going to have seen before. So it's exciting to see where she takes us and what it's like in the Star Wars universe
Right.
200 years before of the events that we know.
Yeah.
So, so that's
Oh,
exciting.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that is the all of the Disney series I've announced. Um, but now on to the animated series, and there's three titles in the animated series stuff they're doing. The one we knew about was Bad Batch. Um, Bad Batch, of course, is the group of clones that were experimental clones from season 7 of the Clone Wars. Um, they all kind of have defects that make them extra special, right?
Right.
Um,
I love that arc that they did in Clone Wars with
yeah,
them.
yeah, I like
I know
them.
some people complained about it, but I was not one of them for sure.
Yeah, I mean, people complain about everything, so it's fine. It'd be interesting to see. It's also going to be following them in post Clone Wars. So they're a bunch of clones who are created to be soldiers in a
Yeah.
world that's no longer needs them. So so that's the one we knew about. The two that we did not. The first one is Droid Stories, which is described as an epic journey that introduces us to a new hero who is guided by C-3PO and R2-D2,
Hmm.
and is being developed by a team up of Industrial Light and Magic and Lucasfilm Animation. Um, this kind of tells me that whatever animation style they're going for is going to be something we haven't seen. Um,
Right.
so that's why you bring in Industrial Light and Magic, like to innovate. So it'll be interesting to see what this is when this takes place. Because C-3PO and R2-D2, I mean, it could take place anywhere between the prequels and the sequel trilogy. So
Right.
who knows? I mean, for all we know, it can take place after uh, Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
So
Well, it'll also be interesting because it's called Droid Stories. So
yeah,
who knows if it'll also be about, different droids that they've had, like L7, K2SO, BB-8, DO,
right.
who
I mean,
knows?
I'm just going by what they said. It's an epic
Right.
journey that introduces us to a new hero.
Oh, okay.
So who knows what that means?
Right.
um, and then the last one is called Visions, which is another one that kind of excites me because I don't know if you saw, like, there's been a short animated film going around that depicts a space battle between the Republic, or not the Republic, the Rebels and the Empire, but it's
Hmm.
done in anime style, and it looks like amazing. And I was
Is
like,
it?
man,
I haven't seen it.
I'll try to find it and link it.
Okay.
But when watching it, I'm like, man, it'd be so awesome to see Star Wars done in anime style. This brings us to
Yeah.
Visions, which is a series of short films animated by the world's best anime creators, and I'm so excited to see what this looks like.
Nice.
Yeah. Not much is known beyond that, but if you've seen that animated short with the TIE, it's basically an X-wing versus TIE fighter battle. It's
Uh,
amazing.
Very cool.
So there's
Can't
that.
can't wait to see that.
Yeah. Um, and it's a series of short films, so it could be anything. It could be any era.
Yeah.
It's not tied to one main thing. So I suspect there would be a wide range of different subjects uh,
Hmm.
and genre in there because anime has a lot of different genres within it. So it'd be interesting that they pull from different aspects of anime. It's not just like the what's more popularly known in like the actiony kind of anime. There's like the kind of silly comedy anime stuff and
Yeah.
stuff. So we'll see. Um, so lastly, coming from the call or the Investors Day, is uh, we knew about this. Not much more was kind of revealed, but the untitled Taika Waititi film is on the slate. Um, and the only thing that kind of said is like Kathleen Kennedy says, Taika's approach to Star Wars will be fresh, unexpected, and unique. His enormous talent and sense of humor will ensure that audiences are in for an unforgettable ride. Which I feel like that's the same kind of news that we heard about when we knew that Taika Waititi is working on something.
Right.
Um, so no clue what it's about, no clue when it takes place, no clue when it comes out.
It's
So
interesting that the one of the logos that they showed with him was kind of like a very Thor Love and Thunder kind of logo. Did you see that one?
no, I haven't seen it.
Uh,
Look
yeah,
at it.
it's very like look very retro 70s kind of look. So that'll be interesting. I don't know if they just put that up there because he did Thor Love and Thunder or if that's going to have any kind of, you know, say in what he's doing.
Right.
But in Taika, we trust.
Yeah. Um, so anyone clamoring for like a very unique take on Star Wars, there you go. Um, but like out of all of that I just talked about,
Right.
um, the biggest news and the most exciting news I think is that, um, and I don't know if they showed it, um, but Patty Jenkins, like, did they show like the Patty Jenkins like reveal in the
No,
call?
she did not. Not that I can remember, but I did see what you're talking about. I know what you're
Right.
talking about.
Because that's one
Yeah.
because like there's a clip of this Patty Jenkins, like it starts off her literally rollerblading,
Right.
um, and talking about speed and all these things and how her father was a fighter pilot and so she grew up around fighter pilots and that her dream was to one day make the greatest dogfight film ever, and but she
Mhm.
could not find the right story.
Yeah.
But then she's like, but I have, and then she kind of like walks away, and she puts on a X-wing helmet, a rebel helmet, and then
Mhm.
walks towards a um, X-wing.
Yeah.
So they announced that Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman, is coming out with the next Star Wars feature film, which is Rogue Squadron,
Right.
which is set for to be in theaters on Christmas 2023. So we got a while.
They said 2022.
Is it 2022? That's 2023.
That's what I thought I heard, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's. I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure
It's
it's
2023.
2023. Um,
I oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say like what was told, like what this is described as. It'll introduce audiences to a new generation of starfighter pilots.
Hmm.
So it's not, like the one thing I can see fans being up in arms about, because of course they will be, is that it's
Right.
called Rogue Squadron, and it might not be the Rogue Squadron that they know from the books. So
Right.
I would say to anyone, keep an open mind. They're trying to go with new things, so we're probably not going to get any direct translations from any of the X-Wing novels that came out. This is
Yeah.
going to be a new thing, but it's going to be um, a thing. So, um, judging by the fact that it's X-Wings, this could take place during the original trilogy era.
Mhm.
Um, but who knows? It could also take place during the sequel trilogy. Um, so,
And I
exciting.
think that Patty Jenkins is one of the best new directors of our time. So I think she's done an amazing job with the Wonder Woman. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen the latest one, but the trailers look really great.
And the
And
early buzz has been that it's a really great movie. So,
mhm,
and it's something that a lot of people say it's like it's a movie that we need right now.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
so
So
yeah, sounds
anyway,
very promising.
yeah, I can't wait.
Um, yeah, um, that was a lot.
I
So,
know.
what?
Yeah, I know. You and I have talked so much about how we just want some inkling of information, just a
Yeah,
little bit of tidbit here or there. And boy, did they deliver on that.
yeah. Like yeah, like I mean, obviously we knew about Andor and Kenobi and Bad Batch and whatever, but like Ahsoka, we kind of guessed at, but we only really guessed at it recently. Like we didn't know that would be a thing.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm really looking forward to the ones that we don't know anything about. Like the Acolyte sounds very intriguing to me. Um, the one by Leslie Headland. Visions for animation, and of course, like Top Gun in Star Wars. I'm all for. Um, you know, what I think is interesting is that we didn't hear anything about Ryan Johnson's trilogy,
Yeah. That
and
is.
also the stuff being worked on by oh man, the other director that they mentioned a while ago was working on something.
I can't remember. Was it?
I don't remember,
Yeah.
but those two uh, were nowhere to be heard from. So I wonder what's going on with that.
Could just mean that they haven't gotten that far in development or something like that. So
Maybe.
they're not ready to talk about it. And they
Right.
did give us quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, it's because like I feel like before the pandemic, the trilogy stuff was coming out
Yeah.
before anything, so that might be pushed back. And who knows? Like I can see if Rogue Squadron is about introducing us to a new generation of starfighter pilots. I feel like they're thinking this also could be sequelized.
Yeah.
Um, so who knows? We might get like a Rogue Squadron series
Yeah.
of movies. But I feel like Ryan Johnson is working on the next saga, like the beginning of the next saga.
Could be. Yeah.
You
Could
know,
be.
while Rogue Squadron seems very kind of it feels more like a small story in the greater universe, whereas I think Ryan Johnson is probably going to be working on something that's more expansive
I mean, it
than
would be
anything.
cool if he was in the was doing something in the High Republic,
Yeah,
and then kind of like expanded on what's in the Acolyte and do that. But I know that definitely in this day of COVID-19, Disney's had to kind of rethink and reevaluate, and they put a lot of stock into Disney Plus, which has been thriving. The big thing that's been thriving over this, horrible year that we've been having.
yeah. So
So, yeah, I think that it's going to be great. But it is nice that they're still working on, films for theater. And, by the time those come out, hopefully, hopefully, we'll be out of this big mess.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, Oh, it's funny. Like I didn't even have any other Star Wars news ready for this. Uh, so I mean, like, there's a lot. So I think that's enough to go on for a while. For a
I
while.
I think so. I think so. So we'll now move on, and we will try on our capes and cowls for our Marvel news. So I'm all over the place with this, but I started off with John Watt, who is the director of the Spider-Man film, will be directing the Fantastic Four film.
I
Uh,
literally jumped out of my seat
I
when
know.
Kevin Feige was like, we were going to be doing a family film. In fact, the first family, and I literally jumped out of my seat, going like, yes.
And they had the little logo and everything, and you're like, at first you're like, what is it going to be? And then becomes a four, and so cool. I cannot wait. And I very much have enjoyed the Spider-Man movie, so I can
Yeah,
see him doing that, bringing that kind of humor to the Fantastic Four films, but at the same time having a level of seriousness that
yeah,
it also needs. So, I can't wait.
yeah. Like, you know, the first, not including the Roger Corman one, but the first Fantastic Four movies. I never saw the second one, so I can't speak to it. But like, it was an era where like superhero movies were coming back. I just feel like parts of it hit really well, but then they never got the villain right at
Mm.
all, and the overall feel is not there.
Yeah,
Um, I think like they had some brilliant casting, but then
yeah,
not so brilliant casting, right? And
right.
the one thing I'm excited about is that I feel like Marvel Studios has not really misstepped with any
No,
casting of their major characters.
their casting is
Even their like secondary characters, I'm like, I can't think of one. I know there's some like personal stuff, like your uh, Terrence Howard's and oh yeah, who's the guy who played Bruce Banner before Mark Ruffalo?
Mark Ruffalo.
Hmm?
Mark Ruffalo.
Before Mark
Oh,
Ruffalo,
before Edward
Edward
Norton.
Ed Norton, Ed Norton. Um, but that wasn't miscast. It was just
Right.
the actors had some issues. But I'm really looking forward to how they put this team together and who they will go up against first.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe if we do get Doctor Doom and they go that route again, which I hope they don't. I really hope they don't go Doctor Doom first.
It'll be funny if it's a mole man. Well,
Yeah.
who is their first villain? They
I
give us
mean,
one.
we've seen sillier characters come to life, so I feel like if they did it, they can make that epic and like awesome,
Right.
and then get your like like DC has always been quick to jump to the most powerful
Villain.
adversary first, and then
Yeah.
it's like let the team build up first.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
um,
I kind of would like to see Mole Man as their first villain.
right? Totally.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because like I'm so really excited to see the Fantastic Four in the hands of Marvel Studios, and
Right.
the way they treated everything else. If they treat us with the same reverence, which
Yeah.
nothing says they're not going to, um, we should finally get a really, really, really good Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah. I think so. I think it's going to be a hit. I think it's going to be
The question is, will they have the robot?
great. Read. Yeah, that'll be funny. All right, so coming soon to Disney Plus, we have Dominique Thorne, who is going to be playing Riri Williams, otherwise known as Ironheart, and she's basically a young genius who has created the most sophisticated suit of armor since Iron Man, and he's kind of like in his ghost form, or like a AI form, her mentor and again another step to perhaps having our Young
Young
Avengers.
Avengers. Oh,
Yeah,
totally, it's
so,
gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
yeah. Samuel L. Jackson is back as Nick Fury, and Mendelsohn from Captain Marvel returns as the Skrull Talos in. It's going to be a series actually of Secret Invasion coming to Disney Plus. So that'll be kind of cool that they've expanded it, and hopefully we will see some of the other Marvel characters in this series.
It'll be
'Cause you-
interesting because one. Okay, so when they announced it, it was another moment where I jumped out of my chair because I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
And then when they said Samuel Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn were coming back, I'm like, yes, the team up I never knew I wanted, but we want of
right.
Nick Fury and Talos.
Yeah,
Um, but they did say that it's about a group of Skrulls that have infiltrated the U.S. or the world
yeah,
in all different levels. So I'm wondering how much we'll see of some of the other aspects of the Marvel universe.
right.
Are we going to visit? I guess Shield's no longer there,
Well,
right?
it's hard to,
Or is it like I don't
because they
know?
brought it back for Avengers 2, and then they never really, I mean, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is what is kind of messing up with
Yeah, I
the,
don't know how that fits in. Like, is it the same? Like, did it exist in the Marvel Cinematic
that's a big
Universe?
question because we already know that if you go backwards in time, you're not in the same timeline, you're creating a new one, right?
Something like that.
So they've gone backwards in time several times. So
So
they should be in another timeline altogether.
they erased themselves from that
Yeah,
timeline.
exactly. So
Uh,
I can't imagine that it's the same shield or anything like that. I mean, I think that I wish that they had, you know, said it explicitly that they've changed the timeline. I mean, they haven't changed the timeline. They're in a
yeah,
new timeline. So that way it would be like, okay, now I
we,
get it.
yeah.
Why Agents of Shield is different.
It's kind of like the way the Star Trek did it in the new movies.
Yeah,
Essentially, they created a whole new timeline, and that's why it's not William Shatner Star
right.
Trek. It's that crew.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, like you know, like I said, like what other superheroes might pop in, what other organizations might pop in.
Yeah,
Um,
we might even see Sword.
I would say like Sword might pop in. Like who knows? Maybe they infiltrate like the more bad guy
Yeah,
uh, aim. Who knows?
yeah.
Who knows?
Very exciting stuff.
Sky's the limit. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so they talked a little bit about She-Hulk. They have confirmed that Tatiana
This,
Maslany,
yeah.
who's from Black Orphan, will take the role, and I could totally see her in that. She's going to
Mhm.
be Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk. They have confirmed that Tim Roth will reprise his role as the Abomination from the Edward Norton version.
Yeah.
And the Hulk himself, Mark Ruffalo, will also be in the series. So it's going to be directed by Kat Corio and Anu Valia. And obviously, this is coming to Disney Plus. So sounds like good times. And it sounds like it's going to be humorous
Yeah.
because she's like trying to make it and break it in the world today, where she's, trying to be this attorney, but she's, 7 feet tall and or I can't remember how tall they said she was going to be,
Like
but
six something. Like
yeah,
six seven, 6'8", something like that. Yeah.
right. So uh,
Um,
it's going to be a good series.
I mean, like at the end, Ken Feige said like, she is an attorney, and
Right.
specializes in superheroes. So he's
Yeah.
like, you'll never know what superhero might pop up. So that's another one where we can see different
Like,
superheroes.
yeah.
You know,
That's just so. I mean, it's so exciting how they're going to have different interactive element. Like they talked about Elizabeth Olsen. We knew this that she was going to be in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Yeah.
Mhm.
But just to see that and other kind of crossovers is just really, really exciting stuff.
I mean, it's really like the comic book universe. Like,
Oh yeah,
like characters cross over all the time. It doesn't have
yeah.
to be. It doesn't even have to be like this epic storyline. It's just like,
No,
you know, they live in the same universe. A lot of it, like especially if you're telling a story in New York, you're gonna have a whole bunch of New York superheroes in the same place. So, yeah, it's
that's exactly the way that
exciting.
Stanley designed the
Yeah,
universe, the Marvel
yeah.
universe.
So,
Yeah. All right.
yeah,
So Brie Larson is returning as Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel 2. It's going to be directed by Nia DaCosta. And joined the cast Ms. Marvel, Iman
yes,
Vellani. Yeah, and Monica Rambeau, who is starring in the WandaVision series, who is going to be played by Teona Paris. Sorry about that. And it's going to be coming in November of 2022.
yeah,
Yeah, I can't
um,
wait to see what they do with Monica Rambeau.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I like again. This ties into everything going on in that universe for Phase 4.
Right.
Um, so I really feel like I really hope that the bad big bad of Phase 4 is Wanda. 'Cause that'd be an awesome twist
That would be a really good.
that that one of our heroes turns out to be one of the biggest villains
Right.
or antagonists. I'm gonna call her a
Yeah, I
villain.
don't think she's a villain. I think she's more of an, like she's more like not. She just is, I think, misunderstood or something like that, where she has all this power and she's a little bit not in her right head
Right.
and can do these powerful things. I mean, did you see in WandaVision she was flying even?
Yeah.
So she's got, well, obviously she's I suppose manipulating reality would be the top
Right.
top power there. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting stuff.
So I wonder if Ms. Marvel is going to be an ongoing series.
Right.
Um, I wonder if like Brie Larson might show up
I
in the
can't
show
imagine that she wouldn't at one point.
at some point.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a, I don't know if you call it a trailer or featurette, so they showed some of the stuff that they had been filming,
Yeah,
and
looks good.
nothing, yeah,
For
nothing as Ms. Marvel herself, but
right, but I mean, like this look like I didn't exactly expect them to have stuff.
right, me neither. I was
Right,
totally surprised.
it's like oh, they really have been filming and like put it together and looks really good. I mean, like
Yeah,
yeah, like didn't really see anything, but
right,
just her as her. So it's like, all right, I see this.
right.
Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
And I really love the fact that they have all kinds of Muslim directors,
Yes.
joining and, again, I think giving her a really authentic voice, which I think is great. And again, played by Iman Vellani, Ms. Marvel is. Uh, Peyton Reed is back to direct Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantum Mania. That's going to be the third title. Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer will all return to the roles. And they made a point of saying that Catherine Newton will join the cast as Cassie Lang, and then Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. But I think, again, it's interesting that they, made a point of saying this is going to be Cassie Lang, again, leading us to further speculation that something awesome is going to happen.
You know she's getting a suit.
Yeah, we know that she's going to get a suit eventually.
um, what's her character name? Like her superhero name?
Stature.
Thatcher. Yeah. Like you know that's coming. You know that's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, is it the first confirmation that it's Kang the Conqueror? Because I know we knew it
Yeah,
was maybe Kang the Conqueror. There's rumors, but I don't know if they
right.
actually announced officially that the bad guy for this one is Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, we had heard about. We didn't know about the casting, but they
Okay.
have now since told us that Jonathan Majors, who I'm not familiar with,
Yeah,
uh, is going to be playing Kang the Conqueror,
but
and
how crazy it is that we're getting Kang the Conqueror in a live action. Like,
yeah,
again, like Marvel just keeps knocking out, like, not knocking out apart, but like bringing us things that we never thought we would
uh,
ever see
yeah,
anywhere, right? So, yeah.
so cool. I mean, anyway, all right. So, Baby Groot is back. His own series of shorts for Disney Plus. And it will feature several new and unusual characters. So that's it for. I wonder if they're going to do it as live action or animated. I mean, I suppose the CGI of him uh,
Right.
do that, and
I feel like it's gonna be live act, live
yeah,
action.
because they didn't say that it was going to be animated. So
Yeah. Plus, there's already like a Rocket and Groot
yeah,
animated series, so
here's what to be excited for. There is
yes.
a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special directed and written by James Gunn. Now, hopefully, it'll be as awesome as the Star Wars holiday special.
When that logo popped up, I was like, oh my god, again, something I did not know we wanted,
Right?
but definitely something that now we do. Like, I was like, no way we're gonna get. Like, a lot of us like, no way we're getting a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special,
Right?
which
That's too
makes,
awesome.
but also makes so much sense.
It does. It does because of this, the crew.
Right? You feel
And
like,
um,
yeah, 'cause like I could feel like it's Peter doesn't know when he was taken, he was still a kid, but he would have known like what Christmas is and like this kind of thing. So like I feel
yeah,
like
exactly.
it's him like kind of like we need to do this, and I can see him trying to teach the rest of the crew what like the holidays are.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm sure they're like I don't even know. Like I'm so looking forward to this
me too. I
so
cannot wait.
much.
Especially because it's been written and directed by James Gunn.
Yeah, they did
So,
say that it's filming concurrently with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and it will premiere the holiday season before Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 comes out.
right.
So, I think he said 2022
Yeah.
on that one. So, so far away, but yet so awesome.
So, so near. All right. So, Armor Wars is going to be a new series coming to Disney Plus. That's another one of those events in the Marvel universe. Don Cheadle will be returning as James Rhodes, but it's a classic Marvel story about Tony Stark's worst fear coming true, and that's what if his tech falls into the wrong hands, which is interesting because that was the same kind of premise of Age of Ultron, but this is like I think a human
Yeah,
person who, yeah,
I mean, it's kind of weird because, like, didn't that kind of almost happen in Iron Man 2 with the hammer
yeah,
getting a hold of some of his tech?
right, yeah, that's another place where this kind of storyline, but
Yeah.
it's a specific and classic story, so they'll probably maybe follow that a little bit
Yeah.
more than what we've seen so far.
So I'm assuming that this takes place
Yeah,
post Thanos, right?
yeah,
So Tony would be gone at this point.
right. Yeah, because otherwise they would have announced him obviously first. I
Unless it's like
can't
one of those
imagine.
like he cameos as like a hologram version of himself,
True, there could
and then
be.
just like, oh my god, here he is, and like, you know,
Yeah,
you never know.
because he is supposed to have in the comic book universe, he has AI that kind of
Right.
represent him in well, just kind of like they had him as that hologram at the end of Endgame.
Right. So
Yeah,
never know. So
right. All right. So I already talked about Ironheart. So Marvel has said that they are not going to recast T'Challa, but they are going to have a second Black Panther film, um, which I think is kind of a nice, way of respecting him.
yeah,
Uh, Chadwick Boseman, who, if you were under a rock, passed away recently due to cancer, and just left the whole world in shock.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like kind of Feige was saying, like his like Chadwick Boseman's portrayal of T'Challa like transcended anything that could ever do. So,
Right.
it was kind of like a no-brainer that like, we're not gonna recast um, T'Challa. In the same vein, like when Carrie Fisher died, the whole like what do we do, since the third story was supposed to be centered around Leia in some respects.
Uh-huh.
We don't recast. We just don't.
Right.
Um, because Carrie Fisher is Leia.
Yeah.
Um, so it's interesting if they're gonna go the Shuri route, which I'm assuming is what it's going to be, or is that story going to be centered around the loss of T'Challa? And it's kind of like what happens with those characters
Right.
in some kind of crisis without him. And maybe by the end we'll find out who inherits the mantle of Black Panther.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe.
right? So, we'll see. Um, Bonnie Kugler is right now working on developing a story for it. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So lots of craziness in the Spider-Man 3 sequel. Charlie Cox is reportedly going to be joining as Daredevil. And so that will be an interesting return for this character, which I guess they couldn't use him for 2 years, so I guess that 2 years is up.
Yeah, the rights went back to Marvel from Netflix,
Right,
so that's what kind of opened up the floodgate of, well,
right,
there's a whole bunch of those guys who I'm sure would come back for something. So,
right. I'm excited to see Charlie Cox come back as Daredevil if this rumor is true.
I
Um,
mean, like
the
it's like when Far From Home came out and the ending happened, there was a lot
uh
of like bring back Matt Murdock to
yeah,
be Peter's lawyer,
right.
right? So, I mean, I would love to see that happen, and then like Foggy come back and Karen.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, because it would be cool if he was had to represent Spider-Man and whatever Mysterio got him into there.
yeah.
Uh, you
But
know,
could you also imagine though a episode of She-Hulk
oh my
where
God,
it's Jessica Walters versus Matt Murdock?
right? That would be awesome.
Oh my god.
I would love
I
that.
want this to happen. I really hope this rumor is
I
true.
hope that it does happen eventually,
Yeah,
where they're up against each other at some point. I mean, it happens in the comics, which is fun.
exactly.
So
Like I feel it'd be a fun thing for it to happen. But also give us hope that one that the characters from the Netflix series, which, are supposed to be part of the universe,
Right.
can show up,
Yeah.
you know.
And I'm sure that, Charlie Cox would like to do something than being that kind of dark, brooding guy all the time.
Yeah,
I'm sure that
exactly.
he's ready for a little bit of Marvel humor and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, so I hope that one comes true. But the site that I get these things from, which is a Dis Insider, uh, they've been right like pretty much 90% of the time. So it is because they don't just put any random rumors on there.
Right.
So usually from another source that is um, fairly
Yeah.
reliable. So
I think this
uh,
is circle back on She-Hulk. I find it funny that like Tatiana Maslany like denied a couple weeks ago that
oh,
she was like, "No, that's not happening," or like, "I don't know anything about it."
they have to. They have to.
Right. I think that's funny. Like, um, that she was like totally like, "What? I don't know what you're talking about." Like,
Right.
I think you do.
Yeah. Unless they're able to surprise us like Chadwick Boseman, we had no idea. Nobody had any idea.
Right.
Then it's just kind of like
Or like, I just feel
they're
like her approach was like deny it, whereas like Rosario and like Ewan McGregor was kind of like, "Oh, it'd be kind of cool
right,
if that happened."
right.
So, yeah.
All right. So also in the Spider-Man news, Andrew Garfield and Kirsten Dunst are also set for Spider-Man 3. Tobey Maguire and Emma Stone are rumored to be in talks, and Alfred Molina, I guess, apparently has been confirmed for the movie. They didn't talk about any of this in the investor call, so again, take this with a grain of salt.
Right.
But this all would lead to the speculation that we will see the Spider Verse in the new movie.
I mean, they also did say they did mention Spider-Man 3, but they mentioned it in a way that they said it ties also into Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, he's supposed to be making an appearance as well, but
So
and that's
yeah, I feel like this is gonna be a strange, weird phase four. Like, um, it's almost like not straightforward who what the conflict is
yeah,
until it's all kind of tied together and we're like, oh, this happened. Unlike, Thanos is always this looming thing going on.
right.
So I'm excited that they're not going with another like. We don't know for sure, but it does seem like it's like, and then here's the bad guy of Phase Four,
Right.
right? And here's Galactus or
Yeah.
whatever, right? Um, like even now, like all these movies and shows are coming out. I couldn't tell you what Phase Four is like leading towards.
Yeah.
Whereas everything else we can kind of see it, like formation of
Right.
the Avengers, like the lead up to Thanos and Infinity Stones. Like no clue what any of these
Yeah.
things mean. All we know is that it's crazy, and somehow the multiverse is at the middle of it.
Right.
So
And will there ever be another Avengers movie? We don't know. They should. Kevin Feige said there may not be.
it might be
Uh,
just be like this.
can't imagine a world without them.
But I feel like all of these are like Avengers, like 5.1, Avengers 5.3, because they're all like, like it's like they're all around everything. So,
Yeah,
what
there's
is
part of me that don't want them to come back, but another part of me that does. I mean, having Captain America finally say "Avengers Assemble," and
yeah,
having this completely awesome, group of heroes team up with each other, I think is a great and fitting ending to the Avengers. But at the same time, you know,
I feel like
films or
as awesome as that scene was, it kind of paints him in a corner of that means like, I mean, not officially, but like everyone who popped up was an Avenger. Um,
Right.
and I think to have that moment again where the Avengers come together as a
Right.
specific group or whatever, like they would have to have another kind of epic need to do it, and where all of them, all the heroes from all these series come together
Right.
um, to fight something.
Wow.
So, and it's King the
Well,
Conqueror. I don't
yeah. Yeah. Who knows?
know.
Maybe by that time, you know.
Yeah.
All right. So, with the Hawkeye series, we learned that Jeremy Renner will be reprising his role, obviously. But the new news is that it has been confirmed that Haley Steinfeld will be Kate Bishop in the new series. So we now know for sure that's who she's going to be, and that's the actress that's going to play her. They also talk about several people. Vera Farmiga was one of them, I remember, and they didn't say Florence Pugh's name, but there are reports that she is going to be Yelena. I forgot her name, her last name, but Yelena, whoever, in Black Widow.
Uh-huh.
So that will
Isn't
be really cool.
also um oh man, they I can't remember if it's for Hawkeye or something else, but
Uh,
they announced someone else was in it.
I know that they talked about several people, but the only one that I really got was Vera Farmiga, who was the one that stood out to me. Good looking it up.
Yeah.
Let's find out, shall we? One, two, three. Please stand
Uh,
by, folks.
yeah, I remember. There was something. There was someone else there. I was like, okay, they finally um, officially said this character is gonna be here. And we talked about her before,
Who we
but
did?
now it's like if you mentioned like we think this person's also gonna be in Hawkeye.
I can't remember now. I know we've been talking forever for about Kate Bishop.
America Chavez.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Although America Chavez is going to be
Um,
uh, in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where she's going to be.
I know she
I
was in
forgot to put that
somewhere.
down here.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff. I tell you, I forgot. Yeah, that she's going to be in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness,
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I knew
which
that
would
she
make
came up
sense
somewhere because I
because
was like, I know she's there somewhere.
yeah, it would make sense because she has the ability to travel dimensions. So
And
that's why it would make sense for her to be in that.
right on.
All right, and then they gave us a trailer for WandaVision, but they had been putting out these cryptic posters every day of this week for WandaVision. And had you seen any of those posters?
I've seen the posters. I didn't really like study them, so I don't
Yeah,
know if there's any kind of hidden
I was
whatever.
watching New Rock Stars, and there's like, they find all these. I don't know how they managed to find all these things in just a matter of minutes, but there's apparently like some uh, wallpaper that is like revealing the cosmos, and the the television changes, the plants change, the pictures change but it's the same room, so it's
Hmm.
very interesting. And in one of the posters, the Cosmos wallpaper looks like it's been slashed or chewed or something like that.
Hmm.
So it's all very interesting.
I mean, the trailer that they showed kind of shows that also, right?
Yeah.
Like they're in the same kind of place, but it keeps changing. Like sometimes even mid-scene, you can see almost like ripples of
Hmm.
something. Um, so it. I liked the trailer. I still
Yeah.
have no idea what's going on whatsoever.
No, no, and that's a great part is
Yeah,
that
like they showed you
actually,
so much, but like at the same time, it's like I have no clue what's going on.
right. I mean, even Falcon and the Winter Soldier, even though that's a little bit more predictable, I still don't know what's going to be happening.
Yeah,
And then they also did a trailer for Loki,
yeah.
uh, which was very cool. And that one, still don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen with the TVA and
They did
which,
say it's a mystery. It's a mystery series.
yeah,
Uh, but like even that trailer, I'm like, it looks awesome, looks cool, and it was like I like how they began it with the scene from Endgame where
yeah,
Loki gets the Tesseract and disappears. Because as
right,
soon as that happened in that movie, I'm like, and that's the series. Wherever
yeah,
he's gonna end up, that's where he is. And then he ends up like in some weird desert place, whatever. Or I don't know if that's exactly where he ends up, but that's what the trailer says shows he ends up. But
yeah. I also like the fact that at the end of that trailer, he has the horns that he is currently wearing,
right,
uh, which are the shorter horns um, that he wears in the series now, the comic series. So I thought that that was kind of a cool touch as well.
what if they're like, look, we gotta shorten these things because we're gonna put this on screen and it's gonna look silly if it's
Yeah,
super huge. But yeah, um, that trailer looks amazing. A lot. They showed a lot of stuff.
right.
No clue what's going on.
I know exactly.
So
I need to do a reaction video for these videos. It's oh, it's been too long since I've done a reaction video. Maybe I'll try and do it later tonight. If not, maybe tomorrow. Are we still doing Mandalorian tomorrow?
yeah, I
No.
mean, it's the episode before the last one, and I'm sure stuff's
Oh,
gonna happen. I'm
so
gonna be up
excited.
at midnight watching it, and then try to
Yeah,
go to sleep afterwards, like I had last week.
I know. It's like it's crazy how like well these episodes are, how well they do them.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I loved the one with Ahsoka, but then the last episode was like, what?
yeah,
Because I didn't, again, I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think that we'd actually see Boba until maybe the next season or something like that. So yeah, that soon as Slave One came in, I'm like, what? And then Fennec Shand, I'm like,
yeah.
yay! Thank God they brought her back, and she's going to be in other episodes. So,
So
um,
now I know we're getting a figure.
right,
I mean,
I,
I'm assuming we're getting a figure. Come on,
yeah,
we need a figure of Fennec Shan
oh yeah,
and Dad Bod Boba Fett.
yeah. I definitely need those.
Um, the
Sure.
rumor, the rumor is also that we're getting a Black Series Luke and Leia from the training sequence in Rise of Skywalker,
Uh-huh.
which is going to be amazing because Leia's going to come with a lightsaber.
Nice. Very nice. All right. So finally, we go
Well,
beyond. Oh, what?
you want to talk about what if?
Oh, I don't have that in my notes. I
Do you
might have.
see the animation?
Yeah, the animation. I saw it, but I didn't put it in the notes for some reason. Uh, but yeah, we could talk about that a little bit. The new animated series coming to Disney Plus. What if we
It
saw a
looks
few sequences? We saw, yeah, that's another trailer that happened. We saw, obviously, they talked about this before, but Peggy Carter as Captain America or Captain Britain, probably. We
yeah,
saw T'Challa in the role
Oh
of
my God.
Star-Lord.
Yes.
Uh, what else did we see?
Well, we saw the Watcher and we heard the Watcher.
Right. Saw the Watcher.
Which I was like, I mean, like, it's weirdly enough sounds like I thought he would sound like, even
Hmm.
though it's just
Yeah,
like it's
totally.
different. I'm trying to think about where I've seen something similar with in regards to the animation style. I mean, it's definitely not like a super kid stylized
No,
Marvel animated thing. But it's not anime either.
no, it's not
So,
anime. It's
but
there. I
it
know that I've
looks
seen
good,
this style before.
right? And
Yeah,
I'm trying. That's why I kind of wanted to bring it up because like I know that I've seen this before somewhere, but I do not know where I saw it. I was
I
hoping
can't.
maybe you remember, if anything.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I know that I've seen this style before, and it looks great. It looks
Oh
great.
my God! Like I didn't know anything beyond Peggy Carter becoming Captain Britain or whatever. Um, like the whole T'Challa instead of
Peter Quill.
Yondu finding Peter Quill,
Right.
finding
Fine, T'Challa.
finding T'Challa. I'm like, what?
I thought that was pretty cool. I
And
can't
then
remember some of the other ones that
there
they
was
showed.
the zombie
Oh yeah, there
Captain
was a
America
zombie.
versus Winter Soldier, so that was
Right.
kind of cool. But yeah,
Yeah,
there's so many things that are going by that like I don't know. But they said what? Like I think they said summer is coming out.
yeah. I'm gonna have to look it up and do another react. I'll do a reactive video for the four Marvel things
So yeah,
sometime this weekend, maybe. I have like a busy day tomorrow, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it tomorrow. But it will come, and it will happen, and we'll all be happy that I did this reaction video.
nice.
All right, so now we move to the Beyond the Gates for our non-traditional Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars news. So there's just a couple of them. I'm not even going to mention this first one because we've talked about it many times. So we will go on to, we've talked about this as well, but it's still exciting that Willow uh, is coming to Disney Plus. It's an original star series from Lucasfilm. I don't know why I didn't put this up with Indiana Jones, but Warwick Davis is playing, and John M. Chu is directing. So we knew all of this before,
Yeah.
and but we also learned that if you played the trivia in between the sequences,
I did
that
not. I took those as like, oh, I'm gonna go get a drink. Oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. So I did
yeah,
not see some of the trivia or pay attention because then I was also writing notes during that
well,
time. So
we did learn that he was wearing a wig in this in the first movie. So
interesting.
yeah, that's my piece of trivia there.
I'm like, I'm like looking at picturing it. I'm like, I
Yeah,
guess. I mean, I
yeah,
guess it makes sense. I don't know why I would assume that that was like his hair. I don't know.
that's
I
funny.
would assume that's what his hair looked like back then, and then he
Yeah,
just grew it up. But that's interesting.
right.